We get double the Cena, but was it double the fun? These are my assorted thoughts on the June 13th, 2025 WWE Smackdown. Welcome to Silo Voice Wrestling on YouTube and the Silo Voice Wrestling podcast, wherever you get your podcasts. I'm Jason C. McLean. I'm recording this on Sunday, June the 15th. It's just after 6:30 p.m. Eastern. And 2 nights ago was not only June 13th, it was Friday, June 13th. I know Smackdown's always on Friday, but I like to mention the fact that it was a Friday the 13th episode. I think they might have mentioned it in commentary too. Seeing as my name is Jason, I always reference Friday the 13th because I have that kind of sense of humor. All right, I think WWE's figured out a way to make these 3-hour Smackdowns work. Well, one of two ways. One way is we got double the John Cena. He cut 2 different promos against 2 different rivals. Well, I guess 3 different rivals. One was one storyline, one is another storyline, which is also a way to maximize John Cena's remaining dates, which I think is up to 18 now. I seriously hope the show I'm going to in Montreal is one of them. As for the promos, his initial promo was sort of, it's obviously a variation on what he's been doing, but it was actually more interesting. He went into detail as to how he's been manipulating things, and it was actually incredibly believable, very believable heel. Yeah, he was setting things in motion. Cody came out the first time and made it clear that that getting pinned was not his part of his intention. So that was fun. Randy Orton Randy Orton and then LA Knight was just to set up the King of the Ring match. More on that later. But the second promo, the response from Punk was great. Punk is really showing how to be he's an uber babyface at this point. I mean, Cena even called him a hypocrite for going to Saudi Arabia, which, given what Punk said in the past, kind of makes sense. But he's sort of playing it like, yeah, he'll go anywhere. He'll go to hell. He even said, I'll go to hell. He didn't imply that was Saudi, but he'll go anywhere to fight John Cena and beat him. I still wish their match was going to be at SummerSlam. Who knows? Maybe Punk will win and they'll have a rematch at SummerSlam. I don't know. But of course, there's the whole King of the Ring thing there. But I still think this is a very good way to build it. I was definitely into that segment. And both John Cena segments were bookended by Ron Killings attacking him. That's setting up another story, too. Wade Barrett calling him R-Truth and Joe Tessitore doing the same thing and then correcting or then adding in Ron Killings is one thing. But the graphic for their match next week said R-Truth. At least the graphics should say Ron Killings. It's Ron Killings versus John Cena. Hopefully they just didn't update it when this was live, and it'll be updated before next week. But also I think this is a perfect way for Ron Killings to follow up his promo on Raw, just with physicality and one word to Nick Aldis, give me Cena. Now we are going to get Cena and Killings next week. I think Killings might actually win. If it's non-title, I think there's a good chance Killings win to maybe set up a title match at some point in the future. I think maybe Ron Killings will be the one who has Cena's final match, or the one that finally turns him back babyface. Not sure. We'll have to see. Also, we're getting another Cena date next week. I really hope there's enough left. I know it was just an article I saw in some publication, some legit publication. I think it was the Toronto Star or something like that, saying that Montreal is going to be Cena's last date in Quebec. And hopefully the show I have tickets for is going to be a John Cena appearance. But no, I'm still glad we're getting this Cena Killings match next week, even though it takes away from that number. Okay, the other way that WWE is successfully utilizing a 3-hour SmackDown is they had not 1, not 2, not 3, but 4 fatal 4-way first round matches for the King and Queen of the Ring tournaments. Wow, I guess you have a 3-hour show, you can do that. And that's actually making a lot of the show very interesting. Let's start with King of the Ring. Okay, now I figured that the Seth's crew, maybe not Seth himself, but Braun Breaker and Bronson Reed were going to somehow screw over LA Knight. And they did. So no surprises there. But I thought, in fact, I was kind of hoping that Carmelo Hayes was going to steal the pin, which he almost did. But then Randy Orton came in, RKO out of nowhere. You know what? That was a really clever end to the match. And I mean, Randy Orton, yeah, obviously he definitely deserves to be in this tournament again. And that was really fun to watch. The problem is, I think Sami Zayn would have a better chance beating, I'm going to huge Sami guy, and he's going to be facing the winner of this match for some reason next week. And I thought he would have a way better chance beating like a Carmelo Hayes in the semifinals than Randy Orton. I don't think he's ever beaten Randy Orton. I think he was in a qualifier with him once, the only other time I've seen him fight Randy Orton, and Orton made sort of quick work of him. But, you know, we'll see storyline-wise where it goes. Maybe there's a way. I hope it doesn't involve, you know, Karrion Kross helping in a heel turn, but maybe they'll go that way. I'm not sure. As for the other match, after Orton won, I was like, okay, it's going to be Cody. We're pretty sure it's going to be Cody Rhodes. And yes, it was Cody Rhodes, but it was still a good match. It was still a fun match to watch. And I finally get the Slim Jim table sponsorship, how this tables snap into, I think it was Tessitore, one of the guys, or Wade Barrett, I'm not sure who it was that said it, but like, snap the Slim Jim table or snap into a tape, something like that. I was like, okay, yes, snap, the table snap. It's not just, you know, branding something, which is kind of like, how come they never branded it before? Maybe previous administration, I don't know, but that was fun. That was a fun part of the match, and it was a good match to end the show. But now let's take a look at the King of the Ring tournament and the brackets. So next week on SmackDown, we have Sami Zayn versus Randy Orton. And then we're going to have Cody Rhodes versus the winner of this bracket. And there's no more mystery man. It's main event Jey Uso. So I think what a lot of people might be expecting is a Cody Rhodes, Randy Orton final. But I don't know if they want Cody to be the one to beat Jey Uso. So if it's not Jey Uso that comes out of that tournament, maybe if it's one of the heels, say Bronson Reed, could be Rusev, or it could be Sheamus. Sheamus could just win the whole thing and decide to go for the Intercontinental Championship. But if it's not Jey Uso, then I think we might be going with a Cody Rhodes, Randy Orton final. And I think maybe Cody will ultimately win, get the belt, and that maybe might start Orton's heel turn against Cody. But that's a pretty good match to have. But if Jey Uso does win, we have an interesting story, which is Jey Uso now has to go through two of his best friends, potentially, assuming Zayn somehow beats Orton. We have Jey Uso going through two of his best friends to become King of the Ring. How badly does it want? He would have to beat Cody. He would have to beat Sami. Also, Sami's really over in Saudi Arabia. So in fact, there are two places where a heel turn with Sami Zayn, I think, wouldn't take. Montreal, where I live, and Saudi Arabia. It's kind of like trying to turn Punk heel in Chicago, which I think they tried once back in the day. Or remember that time they tried to turn Austin heel in Texas. He eventually did become a heel, but he was like shaking Vince McMahon's hand. I think he even hugged him, and he still ended up going on, and it still took a few more weeks for the crowds to stop cheering, and we had to get out of Texas. So yeah, I'm very interested to see how this plays out. They've laid out some very interesting scenarios. Also, are we going to get Jay and Gunther again at SummerSlam? This was just sort of like a test of how Jay could, actually beat his friends and not be there for him to become the champion or something like that. I don't know. Very interesting storytelling. We'll see where this goes. But with Queen of the Ring, I think I have a bit of a stronger, though not completely certain picture. Let's talk about the matches this night. Jade Cargill triumphed over Piper Niven, Michin, and Nia Jax. No real surprises there. I mean, Nia Jax won Queen of the Ring last year. I don't think they're going to have her do it 2 years in a row. Michin, I think, was just in the match. But what really impressed me was how Jade gave the Jaded to Piper Niven. I mean, I thought for a second maybe Piper was going to win, but I was like, she would have been a long shot, because considering at this point we knew that Chelsea wasn't going to be in it, and maybe she becomes Queen of the Ring, and if she tries to pass it off to Chelsea or something like that. I don't know. But no, I was definitely impressed with that move from Jade Cargill at the end. And spoiler alert, I think Jade Cargill is most likely going all the way in this tournament. As for the other match, first of all, Charlotte Flair's outfit should have been declared a weapon. That thing was intense. I did think we were originally that Charlotte and Alexa were somehow going to cancel each other out. And I was hoping that meant Chelsea Green was going to win. But of course, Chelsea Green wasn't even in the match. And I thought maybe Alba Fire is going to win and Chelsea's going to take her spot. I keep hoping for Chelsea to win something, to get another championship back. But I guess we're not there yet. As far as the actual finish, that was pretty clever. It was pretty good. I liked it. Charlotte had the figure 4 locked on Alba, and just before Alba taps out, Alba didn't tap out, but I almost said Chelsea. Alexa Bliss hits the Twisted Bliss on Candice LeRae, 1, 2, 3. And she stole the pin from Charlotte, or she stole the victory from Charlotte, because Alba probably would have tapped out. I think Alba did actually tap out after the pin, and that just furthers the feud. But now, so far, Alexa Bliss is in the next round. So let's look at the bracket. Next week, we got Roxanne Perez versus Jade Cargill. I'm pretty sure Jade Cargill's taking that one. Like I said, I think she's going all the way. And then we have Alexa Bliss is going to be facing either Asuka, Stephanie Vaquer, Raquel Rodriguez, or Ivy Nile. Okay, it's not going to be Ivy Nile. It's not going to be Raquel Rodriguez. She's definitely involved in the tag team scene more now. Stephanie Vaquer, I think that would be a real long horse. I think she's going to do well, but I don't think she might even advance to the next round, but I don't think she's going to be in the finals. And of course, Asuka's returning. Asuka might just win this whole tournament, but you know what? I think in the return match, she's going to look really good. Somehow someone else is going to take a pin, and somehow she's going to be screwed out of it. Or maybe she goes to the next round and that's where she's screwed over, but it's a lot easier to not have a returning star advance in a fatal 4-way than in a singles match without some nefarious stuff happening. So maybe Stephanie Vaquer or Asuka goes to the next round and maybe loses to Alexa Bliss. I don't know who on that side is going to be in the final, but I was almost sure when I heard this tournament was announced, before I realized that Bianca Belair wasn't in it, that either Jade Cargill or Bianca Belair is going to win. And I think Jade Cargill is going to win because you have Jade Cargill as the Queen of the Ring with a title shot at SummerSlam. And you have Naomi with the briefcase, who might either take the title before, or maybe Jade wins the title and Naomi cashes in, or Naomi then chases. And you know she's going to want to cash in on Jade if Jade has the championship, maybe not right away. So I think storyline-wise, that's the smartest way to go, is to have Jade Cargill win Queen of the Ring. And speaking of the champion and the Miss Money in the Bank, Naomi, I love Naomi's heel work tonight. I thought it was excellent. In fact, it's been good ever since she became heel, but it was even after winning Money in the Bank, the fans were cheering outside the little mini press thing they had out there, the wrap-up show, and she just told them to shut up. And here, I love it. Like, Tiffany challenged her to, cash in right then and there, because obviously she had a plan. She thought she'd win. And she's like, do you think I'm stupid? I know she said boo-boo something. I'm not sure what she meant. But what I really loved is I think one of the crowd started chanting, "What?" And she turned and she said, "Bitch, you know what I'm saying?" Like, it was great. She's really embracing this role. I definitely see a championship on her. And Tiffany, though, I think Tiffany really needs to have a match obviously she's going to be fighting at SummerSlam, but I think she needs a feud going in. Maybe it's going to be against Jade Cargill, but that's sort of babyface on babyface. They brought Nia Jax into it, and I actually thought that maybe Naomi was going to cash in after Nia knocked her out. She wanted to, but then Nia told her to stop. So obviously, I hope she's not the first women's failed cash in for Money in the Bank. And I do think it needs to happen like by SummerSlam or shortly thereafter. But yeah, it was a little too soon to do it on this one. And I'm not really sure where they're going with Tiffany, but it was definitely interesting and a good spot on the show. Let's talk about the Wyatt 6 entrance. That's something I definitely hope I get to see live at the Smackdown in Montreal. I did see a Bray Wyatt sort of like a running with the lights going down and everything, so that was cool. But I definitely love their entrance. I like the tag team match against Motor City Machine Guns. I'm wondering, though, if they ever get into the title picture. I mean, it was Gacy and Loomis this time, with everyone else sort of standing back, hovering around Uncle Howdy. I'm wondering if they're going to change it up, who the actual tag team is. And if they end up winning the titles, are they going to apply a Freebird rule? Like any two members of the Wyatt 6 could be could defend the titles, or I'm not really sure. It still seems kind of odd, them in this tag team scene, but I'm liking it. There's a really hot tag team scene before, and maybe this is just the extra ingredient that it needed, and it was a good match. And we had the Jacob Fatu in-ring promo interrupted by Solo on the screen. I thought I heard that Hikuleo was going to be debuting at this SmackDown. Apparently he was in a dark match, so he wasn't on the actual show. I thought he was maybe going to come in from behind and attack Jacob. This is just sort of setting up for next week. I still think we're going Jacob and Solo at SummerSlam. So, I mean, Jacob's moment was really at Money in the Bank. This was sort of just a brief follow-up, and just, I guess, to prove that he really is that over with the crowd, and Solo gave him a chance to come back. Obviously, I hope he doesn't. I think they just wanted to prove that, and they proved it. So good job. And these were my assorted thoughts on the June 13th, 2025 WWE Smackdown. That was, of course, Friday the 13th in Lexington, Kentucky. Really packed crowd. I heard some people online saying the crowd volume was low. I thought the crowd was pretty into it, at least at certain points, especially with the Truth stuff and the Cena stuff. But reports from people who were there was that the crowd was into it. Everything was over. Maybe there's just something with the miking. I don't know. So again, I think this was actually a really good way to do a 3-hour SmackDown. And yeah, double the Cena is maybe double the fun, because you got the guy on the show. Back in the Attitude Era, they used to have Stone Cold show up like 3 times on the show. The Rock 2 times, 3 times. Anyways, let's hope they keep this up. Did you agree with my assorted thoughts? Let me know in the comments. Follow at Silo Voice Wrestling on Facebook and Instagram, at Silo Wrestling on X, and me at Jason C. McLean on X and Instagram. And at jasoncmclean.bsky.social on Bluesky. Make sure you like, share, subscribe, and ring that bell for notifications to get all my wrestling hot takes, cold takes, simmering takes, WWE Premium Live Event prediction and review videos, wrestling opinion pieces, and assorted thoughts on Raw and, of course, SmackDown. I'll be back with my assorted thoughts on Raw and maybe some other type of content too. Until then, for Silo Voice Studios in Montreal, I'm Jason C. McLean.